You know that one thing you worked really hard to do for a long time, but never quite did it? Or maybe you got there once and could never get back to it? For me, it was bench pressing 4 plates, 405 pounds. I've been on a 6-month mission to bench 405, and today the journey came to an end. This is the road to 405.
I need you to save me from me. I'm caught in your wave, I'm drifting away.
When I turned 49, I decided it was time to take on some of my big life goals, the goals that I had been procrastinating my entire life. Every year that passed, it was just going to get harder to do these things. I set my sights on completing 3 big challenges in 1 year. I was going to do a 21-day water fast. I was going to bench press my personal best of 405 pounds, and I was going to run a marathon without walking or resting. My year started on February 7th, 2022. I finished my water fast on April 8th, 2022. I called my bench press challenge the Road to 405. On day number 195, I went for my max, and you'll get to see the results in this video. But first, let me share what a 405 pound bench press means to me. Everyone that has ever decided to increase their bench press knows what it's like to bench press 135 pounds for the first time. This is where you got a 45 pound plate on each side of the bar. When you start benching 135, this is when you feel like you're no longer a gym noob. I can remember when I got a 135 pound bench for 8 reps, I said to myself, never again will I have to warm up with 95 pounds on the bar. And to be honest, it felt pretty damn good to be able to walk into the gym and just bench 135 right from the jump and not even have to mess with the little 25 pound plates. Then the mission became bench pressing 225. This is where you have 2 plates on each side of the bar. Less than 0.075% of the world's population can bench press 225 pounds. When I used to go in the gym and see somebody benching 225 for reps, it always stood out to me. I would notice them and think to myself, that guy knows what he's doing, or that guy's been training for a long time. Working with 225 as your regular working weight was just another step up the ladder of gym coolness. I stayed at this level of 225 for a long time. For me, building a big bench press took an entire lifetime. I started out with my chest being my weakest, most underdeveloped muscle group. I had what appeared to me as an inverted sternum, which kind of looked like a hole in the middle of my chest. When I was in high school, my friends would tease me and ask me if I ate my Cheerios out of the bowl in my chest. I never was really self-conscious about it, but it was a huge mountain to climb to build my pecs to the point where they hung from my chest and looked big. I also trained chest to build size like a bodybuilder. I never trained for strength. I never used leg drive. I never had an arch in my back. I used a super wide grip with my elbows flared out. I don't think this was necessarily the best way to do it, but it's how I did it, and that's how I got to where I am today. As the years passed by, I built my chest up until the idea of benching 315 became a reality for me. 315 is when you have 3 plates on each side of the bar. To me, this was the pinnacle of a beast in the gym. I rarely see guys pressing this weight, and even rarer do you see guys benching 315 for a working weight in the gym. I flew past 315, and before long, my chest was my best muscle group, and I was repping 315 every bench day as my working weight. It only took me until my early 30s to be able to do it. My new dream was starting to form. I wanted to bench 405. That's when you have 4 plates on each side of the bar. In the gyms that I work out in, I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen someone bench 405 pounds. I remember training with my son once and seeing a big powerlifter guy going for 405. His buddy had his hands on the bar to help him with the weight, and he had his bandana down, covering his eyes. He looked really tough and was making a bunch of noise. Everyone in the gym was watching as he repped this 405. And I leaned over and told my son, when I get my 405, you're going to spot me. We're not going to make any noise. And nobody's even going to notice but you and me. On March of 2016, I was 43 years old and my son was 14. He spotted me for my first ever bench press of 405 pounds. And that's when we took these pictures. Right after these pictures, I hurt my shoulder and I did not bench 405 again until 1 year later. When I got 405 the second time, I weighed 320 pounds. Sucking it in and relax. 319. And just like the first time, I benched it one time and never again did I bench 405. It was so brief. I had worked so long to get there and only did it twice in my entire life. I knew that someday I would get there again. When I turned 49, something clicked in my head. I started thinking like, it is now or never. I was never going to have a better chance to bench 405 or do any of these big goals physically that I wanted to do than right now. In fact, every year that passed, I was only going to get further away from the possibility of ever doing it. My maximum strength potential was only going to decrease year after year as I got further into my 50s. The challenge was simple: bench press 405 pounds with no elbow sleeves and get it on video this time. This is where the road to 405 began. I had just finished my 21-day water fast and my body weight was 241 pounds. I was the weakest that I had been in 10 years. I couldn't even bench 315 for one rep.
This is my 1 rep max. Let's see if I can get 315. Sit down.
The good news is I knew that I had muscle memory and my muscle would come back fast. It always had in the past, and I just hope that even at the age of 50, it was still going to respond the same. Step 1, I perfected my form. I researched correct powerlifting bench press form and I started practicing. Step 2, I perfected my training. I started training bench 3 days a week, with one heavy day being in a 3 rep range, one lighter day being in an 8 rep range, and the third day really focused on form and power using only 70% of my maximum weight. I was also following a strict diet in the beginning. I wanted to keep my body fat as low as possible while building my muscles back. This worked great for a few months. Once my body had built back all the muscle from my muscle memory, I started to plateau. After 3 months of making gains consistently week after week, I stopped all progress. I was training week after week and not getting stronger. I was just staying the same. And this is where I had to decide that if I wanted to hit my goal of a 405 bench, I was gonna have to gain some weight. And I started increasing my daily calories. I still tracked everything I ate. I just increased my calories week after week until I was adding weight again. This worked perfectly. I started packing on muscle again and my bench press strength started going up week after week again. After 6 months, on day 195 of the road to 405, I went for my 1 rep max. The road to 405 has come to an end. I am going for my 405 bench today. I'm gonna get my 1 rep lifetime max of 405 pounds. We're going for it. It is time for me to get this lift done. The first rep, I'm gonna use elbow sleeves. If I get the 405 on the first rep, I'm then gonna try with no sleeves and a 1 second pause on my chest, which I want it to be like an official powerlifting, but I want to get the 1 rep in with the sleeves and without the pause, because in my book, if I can get it, touch my chest and crank it out without like bouncing it, I count that. The most weight I have ever bench pressed in my life was 405. I have done it twice in my past. I am 50 years old, trying to achieve my strongest bench press of my life right now. I wanted to get my first attempt with my son spotting me. He was there the first time I got 405 and he was there for this attempt. The difference is I'm now 50 years old and he's 21. My son loves bodybuilding and he knows more about it than I do at this point. There is nothing quite like the feeling of impressing your son at the thing he loves to do most. It was so cool to see how excited he was for me to hit this life goal. He knew that it was going to be a little outside of my capabilities, and it was so fun to have him there trying to get me in the right mindset and motivate me before my attempt. And it definitely helped. I also brought my mom out to the garage to watch the lift. She had never seen me bench before. I don't think she's ever seen anyone bench a heavy weight before in her life. So she was super nervous. I feel like I almost gave her a heart attack when we did the bench press, but it was cool to have her there to get to witness it as well. This attempt was in my garage. Most of my training had been in my commercial gym. I was not used to benching from a power rack.
Look at all those weights. So you've lifted 3 on each side before.
I've lifted all but 10 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Think about 1 year ago, Dad, when you just started this whole thing. Think about if you never did all this, right? And then you turned 50.
Right?
How would you feel then?
That's a good point. No, I like that. I'd be freaking old. I'd be sad about getting old.
You'd have a lot of different things to worry about than hitting this 1 rep, right?
Exactly.
I mean, how many months? 8 months preparation?
More like 6. It's been almost 200 days. What's that? 30 to 200. It's like today's like day 195 of the road to 405. I didn't start the road to 405 till I finished
I
the
remember
fast.
that, yeah. What can you do it so you can start the running?
Okay. 405, baby.
Good luck.
Lifetime PR. Let me clear my mind. Let's go! One, two, three. I hit the freaking thing and I still got it.
You're right, bro.
Thanks,
You
man.
did.
Thanks, man.
You really thought I was going to touch it?
No, I didn't think. No, I did not think you were gonna
I
get it.
know,
But
that's you.
when I said I got it because, dude, I made it like I added like 10 pounds. I hit the
10 pounds.
freaking hook. 405 attempt. I hit the J hook with the bar and still got it. So now I'm gonna try one more time, but no elbow wraps, no elbow sleeves. I mean, but I got it. I got my 405. What up? What do you think? Are you impressed?
Oh my God.
Dude, look, it was easy. It
Hell,
was
you
easy.
100 miles an hour.
Your heart was? Were you scared?
Yeah.
You can see that I had an issue with where to place the bench. So when I came up with the bar on my first rep, I hit the J hooks. I still got the rep. I decided I wanted to make a second attempt and I moved the bench out further away, which meant when I go to rack the bar after the rep, I would need to come back over my head with the bar. This one, when I'm coming down, I'm gonna hit my chest and then you're gonna go 1. And then you're gonna count yourself 1,000 and say lift or go.
I'm going to say press. So
Press. Yes.
You don't need the whole commands though, because what
No.
it is rack, you hold here, down, press. Is the whole.
Oh, you've been watching some of these videos. Huh?
I know what it is.
You're right. No, we don't have to do the whole thing, but
You want to do a pause though.
when I get it out, I'm gonna hesitate for 1 second, come down, hesitate, boom.
Dude, if you get this rep, that's serious.
Nasty. One, two, three.
Press! Alright. Feel it.
Good spot.
Save your
Yeah.
life.
Oh God.
I know.
What hard.
Press!
The problem was I never practiced this way, so when I exploded from a dead stop, the angle of my elbows was different than how I normally do it when I do a touch and go rep. So my left elbow came forward and the bar started to drift up to my neck and I lost all strength in my left arm. From my son's angle as my spotter, he could see the bar had drifted over my neck and was coming down fast. Normally when you're spotting somebody, this never happens. They usually go up, fail at some point, and then you give them a little help and they continue through. In this case, I went up and immediately fell to the left and the bar started to drop. So he had to lift probably 75% of this weight in a deadlift and move the bar off my neck and back to my chest where we settled, and then pressed together back to racking the bar. I've never had this happen before, but I was so glad that Noah was there to spot me. He did a great job, and you can hear him in the video tell me that he saved my life. No one will ever know how sketchy this rep was except him and I, because from our angle, you could definitely see it was a little scary. Just a week before this, I did 5 sets of 3 with 365 at my commercial gym with no spotter. After this happened, I would never take that chance. If I had this happen with no spotter, the bar would have come down on my neck. I had to know that it was a clean lift. So 5 days later, I went for my max again. Now this time, I was lifting with my buddy Shane at the commercial gym where we normally work out every Thursday. Shane and I have been benching together on Thursdays for the last 2 years. So it just felt right. To be honest, I felt like I was cheating on him when I went for my max the previous Saturday. And it just felt like he needed to be there for this 405 attempt because he was there for the entire journey.
Come on, Jimmy. I know, but you almost did. I didn't let it touch it. Not touch it.
At 50 years old, I benched my lifetime max of 405 with no elbow sleeves. Challenge completed, successful.
Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in. And I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. But do I want you in your bed for me? A perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe.
If you want to see how I do on my marathon challenge, hit subscribe. If you want to see how I did on my 21-day water fast challenge, check out this video. More cool stuff to come.